Freiburg, located in the southwest of Germany, has been a leading city for progressive and environmental-based urban planning since the 1970s. A tradition of citizen participation in politics has been developed, shaping urban development in the city. Over the last 3 decades, integrated land use and transport policies have helped to increase the share of trips by walking, bike and public transport, and reduce the share of trips by private car to just 32%.
The city development in Freiburg is an excellent symbol for making town planning possible. After World War II, the inner city was nearly totally destroyed. It was 85% of all buildings were crashed. And it was the question in which way the predecessors wanted to rebuild a city in this way, just to make a city possible. And it happened by chance. They said, well, we take now the chance to keep all our plots we have inside the city. In the beginning of the planning, the predecessors made a very great idea not to take away the tram lines, which were existing also before World War II. They decided to keep them in, and this was one of the most important points to make town planning possible. And we said, well, all people of the city should be in the distance of around 230, 250 meters from the next stop of the train. That means reduce the private car circulation extremely, diminishing the car circulation by building up the city of the short way. It means everything you have for daily requirements, you can do it in a foot walking distance. The point is either you can keep these cars in or you build this quality. And Freiburg is very well known as one of those cities who has transferred this idea into a very high standard.
2 suburban neighbourhoods, Vauban and rizal, have been built as residential communities. Vauban has been well discussed for decades as an exemplar in sustainable urban development. The development has over 2,000 housing units and a population of around 5,000. It was designed by the city authority with the input of the residential community through the Forum Vauban and built mostly over the period 1993 to 2006. The tram route travels from the entrance of the neighbourhood through the central avenue, surrounded by 4 to 5-storey residential and mixed-use developments. There is a hotel, schools, shops, small-scale employment and other community facilities. And many everyday trips are possible by walking or cycling within the neighbourhood.
This was a former barrack built by the German army in 1936. It was overtaken from the French army after World War II. As this area belonged to the German Republic, our old mayor just managed it that the city could buy this area for a limited price, which was excellent at that time. We wrote down a program which we discussed what we wanted to have. Beside all these sustainable elements, we said this must be an area, an integrated area, where people just can have a certain sort of lifestyle which was at that time nowhere existing. That meant we had to reduce the car circulation as far as possible. The most important point, the backbone of all, should be the tram line, which goes inside. So, tram line should be built before the first settler came in. The houses have to be low energy houses, means 60 to 80% reduced, or zero houses, which means a lot of things were integrated. Also, the idea of bringing enough space for the children into this area. And it's interesting to see that when we started, around 32% of those who went inside had children which had the age till 14. Some have grown up, some new children have come. So it's a high standard of children having in this area. And the richness of every city is the young population and the children, of course. The model split shows more than 60% is done by bicycles, by footpaths, and of course by using the tram line. And so it makes a city an area which shows out that it is possible to build areas with mixture, with density, and with infrastructure, and all combined into a system where the people just do not use their car in the way the normal people are doing that.
Vauban is very popular with young families due to the layout and generous communal play space. This is the great feature that is evident if car ownership and usage can be reduced. There is much space that can be used for better purposes than parking cars. The tram provides an excellent connection into the city centre, with a journey time of just 15 minutes and a tram frequency every 10 minutes. Rizal provides a second new neighbourhood development, built over the period 1994 to 2000. It is a higher density development, mostly residential, with retail, educational, employment and other community facilities, with around 4,000 housing units and around 10,000 residents. There is more car parking provision than Vauban, under and at the rear of residential units, but again the provision is low, at around 1.5 spaces per unit, and this has maintained low car ownership and usage. A high level of community space has been used, with much landscaping and open space. The wider urban planning in Freiburg has helped keep private car usage low. Edge of town retailing, for example, is prohibited due to the negative impact on city centre retailing, and the dependence on the car for visiting these types of retail developments has been reduced. Freiburg is a special city. It has a particular population that favours sustainable travel behaviours. This is a city dominated by the university and public sector, with high levels of education, income, and widespread pro-environmental beliefs. A difficult task is to deliver these types of urban developments, transport networks, and travel behaviours in a different political context, with a population with dissonant views. Even to continue doing this again in Freiburg, where there is great demand for more affordable housing. But revisiting Vauban and Rizal, we can see that the high quality of development has paid off. These are still excellent places to live and visit.